Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Superman and Lois retrospective, season 1, episode 11. This is a long ass title, a brief reminiscence in between cataclysmic events. And this recording session is probably going to be anything but brief because as you guys probably know, us leading up to this, both Darren and Lance had their favorite episodes earlier in this season. And now we come to my favorite episode. And uh, there are a lot of things that go into that. We'll dive deep into those as we go throughout the episode. Don't expect this to be, completely chronological. We'll try our best to go through it, but we're likely going to be jumping all over the place as we have been. And
Sure will.
There's a lot of things we don't expect going into these. We just kind of talk and see what happens. Just like tonight, I didn't expect Darren over here to be copying my name, but we're always surprised.
Actually, you copied my name. I was born with this name, and
Oh
you
yeah,
decided to steal it. So
is that your government name? You got your birth certificate to prove it?
sure do.
Yep. Actually, no, that's his Kryptonian name. That's what it is. But yeah, this episode I think was very well placed in the season to give you just all the classic beats from Superman that you know and love from other adaptations, whether you're talking the Reeve movies, the DCAU, certain comics that you read. They give you all the classic beats. They give you the full Fleischer suit beyond just the one scene you see in the pilot. You actually have the entire context of that scene from the pilot played out in this, whereas you only got a snippet before. And if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the only time in the entire show where they do the phone booth transition. I think it's the only time they ever do it.
Yeah,
they do it in Supergirl if that counts, but I don't think it does.
I mean, fair. Wait, do they even?
Wait, do they?
Because I know he does the shirt open running through the alley.
He does the shirt. He does the shirt open. The shirt.
It's like by a phone booth. It's like like you see it. In the
but you don't see him like super speeding inside it.
Yeah.
No.
And you got that full Fleischer suit, the beautiful Dan Romer score that accompanies it.
The score in the show is just beautiful.
Oh
yeah, regardless.
You can criticize a lot of these Arrowverse CW shows all you want, but Blake Neely, Dan Romer, they never missed with the music.
Yeah,
even if the music isn't always implemented as well by editors, the music itself is always great.
Yes.
Except for that one episode of Flash.
Yep, I'm not talking about that.
Which one?
And that one episode of Legends.
Which one?
No. I don't want to think about that. I really don't want to think about that.
Are we talking about the musical episode?
That song, that one.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The Flash one's fine, but the Legends one,
but
anyway.
Before we dive too deep, if you are new here, please like, share, and subscribe. If you're returning, do the same. You can become a channel member today, or just like the video, run it up.
Yeah.
This is premiering live, so it's like a live. I can see how many people are watching right now, and it's 175 of you. All right, like it. All 175 of you like it. We're not recording. We're live right now. This is live.
No one ever said Lance was
I wore this shirt on Tuesday. All right. I didn't take a shower. No, I'm just playing.
That's the first thing he said that's truthful.
Okay, keep going. Bitsy, if you're watching, I love you.
Wow, no mention to your favorite Clark. Man, you moved on already.
Oh, Tyler as well.
Called you out. But no, on the topic of them, you really get to see where, their relationship started. And, I'm glad that we jumped into this show with an established Superman. But I think had we not got to see where it started at some point, the impact of everything would have felt a lot less. I can see Darren. I can see him fighting a sneeze. I can see it starting. Good thing you hit the button in time.
Sorry.
No worries. And another scene you see play out with the full context is where he meets Lois, and you can see he's tripping over his words and all that just as part of the normal Clark Kent persona. But then when he sees Lois for that first time, you can tell how actually caught off guard he is. And I love how they do that. We're going to dive more into it, but I want to get your
Mhm.
guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about how I love the episode a couple weeks back, and that's how, like, my technical favorite episode. But, like, I think this is arguably the best episode of the show. Like, I think when people think about Superman and Lois, this is the episode everyone points to. If that's just the reused scenes from the pilot or, like, everything new that's added this week, and how it's this, like, chronological journey through the early days of Clark. And, like, I definitely agree with you. I'm glad we set this in a older era of his life, but, like, I remember watching this episode and being like, man, I kind of want that show. I kind of want the origins of Clark and Lois.
Yeah. I hear that, yeah. And we probably would have gotten more of that explored had the show gone on for more seasons. There would have been more shown in that time.
At the time, I remember being like, "Oh, we should get this every season. I want to get this every season." And so they kind of tried, but it was never a full episode. It was like a flashback here and there.
Yeah, or like a couple episodes had flashbacks where, especially in season 4, they had to do that with cast limitations, which I think was very smart on their part. Like that's how you work with a limited cast, is you do flashbacks, with those characters to further enhance stuff happening in the present. So they were smart in that regard. But no, I would have liked to see like a variation of that every season, not to the same degree that you saw in like the first 5 seasons of Arrow, where almost every episode had a continuous, flashback side plot. It worked for that show most of the time, but I don't think it would have done the same thing here.
Yeah, like I remember at the time, I was like, all right, so in season 2, we can bring in John Cryer as Lex Luthor, and we can bring in Jimmy Olsen from Supergirl, and we can add them into the, whatever, and like, retrospectively, it's like, well, that never happened.
Nope. And then like as we were getting, little side note, like as we were getting to the end of season 2, and they the showrunners kept saying the question of continuity will be answered. Everybody's thinking, oh, Melissa's showing up. Nope.
We'll talk more about this next week because I have thoughts. Like we will get into the Arrowverse thing later.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, now this is beautiful episode. Gorgeous, beautiful episode.
Love it. And one thing that's better with this show than really any of the other Arrowverse shows, and I don't even think it's a contest, the visuals and the cinematography. It's like they're making movies every week with how good some of this looks. And the visuals here surpass, in my opinion, multiple high-budget DC films with the way that they shoot things, the way that they frame things. And it was especially noticeable around this time because Superman and Lois season 1 was airing the same night as The Flash season 7 for a couple weeks. And the contrast between the two shows was insane. I mean, to tie into your guys' other thing here that you guys do, The Flash in season 7 around that time looked like low-grade Power Rangers TV, whereas Superman and Lois looked like high-budget filmography, basically. And you'd have to imagine the budgets are relatively similar, and you could tell they put all the money on the screen. Lance, what you got?
Rewatching this episode earlier this week, because I'm not irresponsible and I take all of our podcasts seriously.
You definitely weren't watching it before we started recording.
Definitely was not. Darren also doesn't have a picture of Teletubbies kissing as his profile photo. But
okay.
we are so unserious.
Man,
but
we can't get through one episode without something cursed happening.
No.
But seriously though, like I loved this episode, and honestly, I didn't realize how much I did until we went back. I remember first sitting down to watch it after during that era, Canada Graphs getting all the photos, knowing that we were going to be having a flashback-esque episode, not knowing how it was going to play out, but like during the first half of this, seeing young Clark just out in the middle of the Arctic looking for, well, he doesn't know what he's looking for. He's just following that crystal. So we see young Clark. We see him, getting to the fortress. We talking to Jor-El. And the one thing that Jor-El says that stood out to me that I did not notice before, he doesn't say you are the last son of Krypton.
You
He
are my
says, "You are
son."
the last son of the house of El."
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention to that before, but now I'm listening. I'm
Yeah.
like, dang. And then after learning what we learned about, the new Superman in the new universe, just having those two scenes like just juxtaposed
Yeah.
in my head, it's weird, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. Both
Yeah.
Superman adaptations took liberties with the origin and all of that. So that means Jor-El did know that Tall was sent to Earth by saying, "Oh yeah, you're the last son of the House of El, but you're not the last son of Krypton." So if I would have been listening to that back then, like if I would have been actually paying attention to it, I've been thinking like, "Oh, he's talking about Supergirl. He's talking about Supergirl." But
Yeah.
sadly, no, we didn't get that. But I love if I could just have the transitional scene from the young Clark into Tyler Hoechlin into him taking the first flight. Oh, I'd play that
That
running like on a loop
that is
it's
so
beautiful.
seamless. It's hard,
So
it's so hard to tell when it switches because of the
yeah,
way that they frame it. You see him running, and you see he's so happy to have these
yeah,
powers, like that he's finally figuring out who he is. Getting comfortable with what he can do. Just that shot of him running on the ice. You see him smiling. As I said, it's so seamless as it transitions from the younger actor to Tyler Hoechlin, and the way that he, jumps off and starts flying through the fortress. You see him actually, him flying around in normal clothes in the fortress is something that happens on multiple occasions in the show going forward for different
yeah,
reasons. And it's nice to see how that kind of started here.
yeah. Like this whole intro scene, like the whole flashback, the early days, seeing how happy he was to come back home and possibly talk to Lana. But as we know, like dog, nobody's gonna wait forever. I felt for him in that moment
Yeah, I
because he
mean,
thought,
it would be bad if he was just kind of hung up for 15 years and then thought everything was going to go back to normal.
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
mean,
that would be awkward.
people move on.
Yeah. So it was
Um,
good to see that the like how his mom always knew that one day he'd come back. She welcomed him back with open arms. She had a suit waiting for him because she said she saw in a dream of adult Clark, just having it, but she was like, "Oh, it needs something on the front." I love that entire scene. That entire
yeah,
flashback. Like if that could have been like, and that's his origin story, but if that could have just been the origin and we didn't see like his memories flashing in and out, I would have been all for it. Like this would have been a 10 out of 10 origin story pilot. Like, yeah. Young
yeah,
Days of Clark. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. We got 10 seasons of a Young Days Clark.
yeah,
Also, look at small thing, but look at what I had sent you there. Um, and I love just the beats that you see.
idiot.
Yeah. I love the beats that you see. Whenever they is jumping forward a little bit, but the I guess antagonist that you see in the flashbacks briefly is not just a one-off character. He's actually brought back in a later season
He
and
is. Yeah.
kind of pivotal to the early parts of that season. So it's nice how when you get to the end of the show, you realize how so many things
Everything
were
ties together.
so connected together. It all mattered.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. 3 and 4 both definitely heavily was taking what those first 2 seasons was kind of building and was bringing them full circle. And again, a lot of that is probably helped by the show only running 4 seasons, and that's a
yeah,
lot easier to do. You see Flash, who's on their 9th season. It's much harder to pull things from season 1, season 2, comparatively to a lot of these shorter shows. But
even though
no,
the
you're
later
right.
and later Flash got in its runtime, those were about the only seasons that they pulled from.
Yeah,
Understandably to a degree, but I loved too. As they show you just the bits of Clark and Lois, being journalists working together. You get to see that side of Clark where in present day you really don't get to see Clark as a journalist. That's more that's more of Lois's forte, and you get to see how Clark is there, how they are together as a pair. Um, and
Can we pause right there though?
hmm,
That first shot of Lois when she first walks up to him and says, "Who told you to wear a tie?" and
yeah,
how the camera just goes into slow mo and just lingers.
So good.
I must say, if I was Clark in that moment, I would be lost for words as well.
I mean, he was. Yeah.
he was, yeah.
I'm
That's the
just
first time.
I'm like, hey Clark, you forgot all about Lana in 2 seconds. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't
And like,
blame
how
you.
does he impress her? By comparing her to his first grade teacher.
Yeah.
What every woman wants to hear.
Yeah, you know, she
yeah.
was real nice to me. You know, she's talking about fractions. What?
Yeah. Pro tip for any guys out there: I would not use that as a pickup line.
No,
Um,
but I
yeah,
I love what, like, I think it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole show is that like interview scene when they're on live TV, and like that whole bit's so good. And then I love the little bit where, like, you know, her producer's like, he has hidden on you. She was like, no, I like the nerdy Clark from the paper. He's nerdy, but I love him. It's like, oh, I love that so fucking
and
much.
you can tell, and you know they show you in a later episode, but you know he says that was the happiest day of his life at that point. You know, to be appreciated for who he is when he's not wearing the cape, and
I think I prefer that. I think I prefer Lois having a crush on Clark over Superman than her being like, I love Superman, and then her realizing, oh wait, you're the same person. Like, I just love that. I think that adds so much to her character, where it's like, yes, Superman is cool. Yes, she wants to find out the truth, but it's who he really is at his core. Because Superman's not who Clark is at his core. That is a persona that he kind of creates. And it kind of puts together for the best of everybody.
And Clark Kent kind of is too, to a degree, is another persona that he crafts.
Sure, but like not the Clark Kent that Lois Lane sees from day to day. Like that is genuinely who he is at his core, especially as they got to know each other more. So that's such a beautiful scene. I love it so much. Yeah. And then they're like, "Is one of his powers super hearing?" It's like, oh fuck.
and like as they're as it gets to you know the scene where he brings Lois to the farm, and
his mom's like, I didn't tell everybody, just a few people.
Yeah. And he's like, I had to wait for the right time, and she goes, what, to meet me? And I love the moment when he says he's going to tell her, and Martha goes, if you do this, there's no going back. And Clark says, there was no going back from the moment I saw her. Damn it! That just hits really, really hard. And I love, like with the pilot, whenever he revealed his identity to his kids, it was just a slow ascension. Holding the truck. When you see him reveal it to Lois here, again, another slow ascension. He is so gentle the way that he shows people who he is. It's calm. It is, not showcasing the power of an angry godlike figure. It's something so simple and easy.
He's not getting into a bathtub fully clothed.
And I do think it's also so smart how they've used this footage, because yes, we saw so much of that in the pilot, but so much of it just hits different knowing the full context of these scenes, and it's like you're watching these scenes for the first time all over again. And such a smart way to just save a couple dollars is to be like, okay, we're going to reuse these scenes. And we've seen other shows do stuff like that, but this is done in such a better way. I think it's such a smooth way that like I can enjoy those scenes again even more. Like again, there's the like, oh, my mom made it for me, but it's done better because we actually see her like bring out the suit and be like, this is what I've done for you. It needs something a little bit more.
He opens,
it's so good, so well done.
I was not at all bothered, again, to contrast to this show, I was not at all bothered that we saw those scenes again. Unlike The Flash, especially in its last season, every time they referred to a previous season, or sometimes a previous episode in that season, they would show a flashback with this ugly ass blue tint to it.
Sometimes the same episode.
Yeah,
sometimes something would happen in the first 10 minutes, and they would be like, stop it! We just saw it. We don't have amnesia.
And the worst part was the instance where they did it twice.
Oh, you talking about in season 9?
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so bad.
You know what episode I'm talking about, too. That one. Yeah. But no, I did not at all mind that we were seeing some of these scenes again, because you're getting the full context. And, you get to see, they add a little bit more to that montage. You see more of just Clark and Lois being, who they are. And the bit where, like, the elevator door closes and you just see them come together. I got, again, just good feelings, just seeing it just made you happy.
Yeah.
You saw, I think, a little more of Perry in this episode. If I remember, he's in it for like a few more scenes. Mm-hmm. He's not in this show very much outside of this episode and the bits you saw him in the pilot, but I thought he still worked for what he was. He still worked as the traditional Perry White that like the hardened, owner of the planet, somebody. And I like how his whole thing too is like, we represent, the people of Metropolis. Like, you get to see what the everyday person in Metropolis does and how they react to the things around them. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the biggest criticisms I had with the new Superman movie, is that city gets attacked like 4 times in the movie, and everybody in Metropolis is just treating it like it's a normal Tuesday. Whereas you see, when things happen in this city, you see how it actually shapes the city and how it changes them and how Superman changes them. And I love that.
Yeah, and I love a little bit like later on when Clark and Lois are on the roof, and he's like, I could maybe talk to Perry about getting you your own scoop, your own thing. He's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm all right. I like where I am.
Yeah, he doesn't want the fame. Whenever you see him walking down the block, literally looking for apartments in a newspaper, it's like, he couldn't.
Everybody's ignoring him too.
He has the power to not live on that down to earth scale, but he chooses to, and that's what I love.
And I love this version's take on the it's a bird, it's a plane, because I feel like when other have tried it in the last couple of years, it's so cringe. It's so it's so olden, where it's like, it was like a bird or a plane or something. I don't know, and it's like, that's such a good way of adding it into the present day while making it work and not super cheesy and not super, oh look, we just said the thing.
Yeah,
it still is, but it's. Yeah.
To that point, there's another one of those moments in this episode during the interview when she's like, what do you stand for? And he's like, I'd like to think everything good. And then they say truth, justice, and she goes to finish the sentence with the American way, but he doesn't say that. Yeah. And I love the little joke that they throw into it where he's like, are you just trying to get me to say that I was raised here? I love that little bit, and the version or the altered version of that statement that they say toward the end of the show, I think fits so much better than the old statement, especially considering how the American way has shifted from what it once was.
And I think and I'm not trying to pit them against each other, because I do love the new Superman movie, but I think there was a lot of people that were giving that movie the props of okay, thank you for finally changing this thing, or thank you for finally doing this as Superman. And then I want to be like,
never actually said it.
Yeah, it's been done for a while now. You know what I mean?
He never actually said it though, did he?
In the movie?
Yeah, he never said it.
I mean, there's a lot of things like that though. There was a lot of oh, thank you for doing this for Superman. It's it's been done. A lot of the things have been done.
Even Henry Cavill Superman never said, "I stand for truth, justice, and the American way."
Sure.
He had that one scene where he said, "I'm standing for justice," and that's all he said. But
I
thought it was hot. I thought it was hot.
Jeez, yeah. I don't want to be reminded of that god awful movie. But no, I mean, I just rewatching it again this most recent time. I don't know what it is, but the show, especially in this first season, I admit, today, these past few days, in personal work life were not great. sit down and watch this episode, and for about 45 minutes, I felt better.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
my problems were just kind of alleviated for a little bit.
That's my experience with this whole show.
Every time.
It just makes you feel
It's a feel good show.
I mean, and I think that's so. I think even as the show goes by, I still get that feeling, which is very weird. Like, I can watch, like, season 3, which will make me bubble my eyes up, but I still end the episode feeling like, hey, it's going to be okay. And I think that's such a good contrast. I think it's so good that and we'll talk about this once we get there, but I think it's, like, life isn't only good when things are going okay. Like, you need to have that feeling when things are also going really, really badly. And I think they do make you feel like that. And like that, I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, like, this is DC's Ted Lasso, and just in terms of just like, it's going to be all right, guys. Like, it's going to make you feel good for like an hour, and then you can go home and feel good about your life, kind of thing.
I mean, that was especially important at the time this was coming out. We were right in the middle of COVID. So yeah,
this show helped me get through COVID. I think that whole era. Yeah,
COVID, and I've brought this up in other videos before, but in the months leading up to this, I had 3 back-to-back deaths in my family. I was like in one of the worst mental spots I've ever been in. And a month after I lost my grandfather is when this show premiered. So I think this show just came into my life at the perfect time. So
honestly,
it's one of the reasons I always special.
Honestly, going into season 2 is like when my mother-in-law was on her decline after her stroke. But she had the stroke right before this show started. So this was a comfort show for me and my wife. And in season 2, that's when she eventually, did transition or whatever. But I literally, and when we get to the episode in season 2, it's the one I'll never forget it. The episode that I found out that they were filming at the time, thanks to, again, Canada Graphs, is the episode where they're on the inverse world. And it's when we get to see that like get the flashback for Bizarro. I remember sitting down at my table, finding out that they were filming that, and just for those brief few moments, because I took a break from the hospital because it was active transition, but it hadn't happened yet. So I took a break, came home, and I just sat down and I looked at that. I'm like, peace. Like it's just something about this show that it just helped, and I think. With all the shows that we watch, with anything, it just gives you a moment of solace. It lets you escape from all your weird real world problems, and especially like that's why I'll always cherish Superman and Lois, because it came at a pivotal point for me.
Yeah,
like a very pivotal point for me.
I think the fact that Superman as a character is still able to do that now shows that he's just as important now as he was 75 years ago.
And I think I've said this previously, but like Superman and Lois is like the only show where like, okay, if I'm having a little bit of a rough day or like if my anxiety is up or whatever, I'll just put on that music, like the main.
I love the score.
Yeah. Like I sent you guys I sent you guys that one score that I'll literally pop into my headphones whenever I go on walks, and it just calms me down.
Gorgeous. It is a gorgeous, and like this is my hot take. I know this is my favorite Superman theme, and which I know you can't beat like some of those OGs, but just in the way of like it makes me feel what I think Superman is about, and it's just like everything's going to be okay, and like.
I might agree. I might agree. And the crazier thing is, the contender for me is actually not from a live action movie.
Okay.
Like a small little side note, there are 2 animated Superman movies that use one of, if not my favorite Superman themes, which is you have Superman Doomsday that uses it, and then my favorite animated Superman movie, which is Superman versus the Elite, they use it as well. But no, the music in this is absolutely phenomenal, especially in this episode. And one of the musical highlights for not only this episode, but whenever they do this in the show, whenever montages start, the music is elevated to such an insane degree, and all the emotions just hit you at the right time. again, we saw those bits from the pilot that we had already seen, but when they were lumped together in this context, I liked what they were done there with the music. But then it shifts whenever you see that throughout all these flashbacks that we're getting, and I'm surprised we haven't touched this yet in like half an hour, but you have Tal like interrupting these dreams. And at first I was confused because you see Clark break from it and Lois is talking as if she's still in that scene, and it gets me confused. I'm like, wait, what's happening? And even though they're memories, you have Clark begging, like, no, don't hurt them. They're just babies. And I love to, like, once they're awake from the dream, like, you have one of my favorite moments from this episode that's not even part of the flashbacks, but you have Tal saying, tell me how I can appeal to you. I appealed to you as a brother and it didn't work. I was like, damn it, Darren, you're muted again. I don't know what happened.
Sorry. It's like tell me what I can do. Like he is trying to be not necessarily a decent human being, but like he's trying to do what he can to be an okay brother and be there for him. It's like this is what needs to be done, but how can I get
he views Superman as all he has.
Yeah. No, it's such a good scene. It's such a great moment, and I'm really glad we got to see that a little bit, like the birthing process, a little bit of that too, just because like we saw kind of what was going on with Jonathan in a world where this was canon, right? Like we saw Jonathan kind of when it was announced and kind of when he was born and having to be sent home to Earth and blah blah blah. We never saw any of that for Jordan, and so I'm glad they got to be like, okay, this was the process and this is how they were. And at the time I was definitely very confused. I was like, okay, how does this line up with Elseworld when it was announced that, I was trying to lean up the timeline.
I can just imagine like something where this was still fully canon, and then Clark can always tell Jonathan years later, it's like, you were sent to a random Earth, and this doppelganger of this old man in a green hood actually found you and took you to his bunker. I was like, I can just imagine that playing out.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like I was like, wait, shouldn't he also be remembering the pre-crisis timeline as well? Because he should have memories of that.
Yeah, well,
at the time it was canon,
Well, even then, that created its own plot holes because because whenever they say that there are two of them, that's setting up this show, obviously, because prior to or at the start of Crisis, they only had one child.
Yeah.
But even then, when Superman says, the boys, that wouldn't make sense there because he wasn't a paragon, so he would know that he has two kids. Yeah. So Superman was basically the audience in that scene.
Yeah. Yeah, a little plot hole.
Oh, yeah. There were many, many, many plot holes, but yeah, we'll get there.
I also wanted to mention a line from Sarah this week I thought was fun. And I don't know if they meant it as such, if it was meant as like a little funny Easter egg or reference, but like there's that, like, like they're talking about what happened with Kyle and stuff like that. And she's like, like it's so tough having a parent that has two identities. And John's like, yeah, it can be tough. It's like, they know something about a dad who has two identities.
That had to be intentional. And I think this was honestly one of Sarah's best episodes too, from a little bit that you got of her. And you can tell Jordan. I mean, you can tell that. What about Darren?
Was that intentional, Darren?
What?
Darren was that intentional? As soon as you said tongue.
Oh no! I'm sorry.
Oh man, that was too perfectly timed.
That was good timing, Darren. You have great comedic time. That's why Darren's the funny one.
No, I mean, I do love that moment where Jordan is kind of pulling a Clark, if you will, and kind of fumbling over his words, and then Sarah just kind of stops him. She's like,
"Yeah,
I don't want to be just friends anymore." And Jordan's like, "Me neither." I'm like, and I'm sitting there going, "Jordan, you never wanted to be just friends."
Exactly.
But he had to pretend.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny how when she's like, "Can I have a moment alone with Jordan?" And Jordan's just like, he's just like sitting there still trying.
He's like, what? And
My dog, you can't act subtle at all.
I love John's expression. He's like, "All right, buddy, now's your time."
Don't fuck this up.
I love that expression because that is something that a brother would so do there, and I might have done it more than once. But yeah.
I love how natural it's been this season with those two characters. I
Just
think
feel real. They feel like real brothers.
it feels that, but like I meant Jordan and Sarah. Like I love how casual. No, it's fine. Like just how casual that's went. Of just like, okay, we have a thing for each other, but now it's just not a good time. And was now the right time? Maybe not. But it's just in the moment. Like I feel like this is what needs to happen in this moment, or what just what I want to happen in this moment.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Like they helped them out in a very tough situation. She has her dad back. She's happy for the first time in probably a couple of days. Now she kind of wants to be with the person that helped make her happy, So I think it makes sense with that.
And I love the moment that follows this interaction with Kyle and Lois, where he's like, "I was wrong about a lot of things, but I was mainly wrong about you guys. You're good people." It's like, see, it's moments like that make me love Kyle. There's some things that make me question whether or not I do, but it's moments like that that really hit hard.
And they never go back on that dynamic. Like Kyle has his highs and lows, but he's always like they never go back to beefing after this moment. Like from this moment they are friends.
Yeah.
And I like that.
And then next season it's Lana's turn.
Yeah, no, I mean again, there's some lows of Kyle and Will.
No, I meant next season it's Lana's turn to beef with Lois.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have as much memory with season 2 as I do the others, so I'm like, wait. Fair. I was like, okay, yeah.
Fair enough, but no, and to that point, I mean, we'll get there, I'm sure, as we go over season 2 episodes. Is it the weakest season? Probably. It's not bad at all.
I like it. I like it still. Yeah.
I don't think it's bad at all. And the fact that like if that's your low point, it's pretty damn impressive.
It's a good show.
If that's your low point. I'm trying to think. I love that bit at the end where even though Lois is dreading saying this because she is wanting to obviously not believe it, and you see in future episodes where she isn't believing it, she calls John Henry Irons and says, "That war you've been predicting, I think it's about to happen," and it ends on that shot with the red eyes. I love that shot so much. And you see right before Superman does get turned, God help Jordan, he tried to fight, but that did not work. And you see how he was able to get one little bit of abilities out, and he got thrown around like he was a toy. But in future seasons, you see how he really does come into his own, and even though he doesn't always make the best decisions with his powers, he does get better. He does hone them a lot better over the course of the season.
I adore that whole final 5 minutes. I love how dire it is. I love how hard to watch it is. Like I hate seeing Superman in that position to have to be like, I submit. Even though I wish he maybe put up a little bit more of a fight. Like most of the fight was kind of done off screen. Like I kind of wish there was a little bit more of a there's no other option. Because from that point onward, I would have been like, no, and just boost them up to the sun.
Going into it, I thought that it was like some sort of maybe plan that Clark had, kind of like what you saw in something like Arrow, where Oliver pretended to be evil, but it didn't end up being that way. But I get why.
I think it's I have some headcanons where it's like, okay, Clark knew that Lois would do what she does and push him in the right direction to get him out, but it is a little bit it is a little too much up in the air of just well, you probably shouldn't have done that, Clark. But I could also throw in the the ideas where this is probably the first time he's fought a actual Kryptonian. There's been an actual Kryptonian threat. We don't know what all happened with Zod in this continuity.
Yeah,
but if he did fight Zod, he has a family now, and he has people that he wants to protect, and he's probably terrified for them now that there's a Kryptonian after his family, threatening his family,
right?
And just this is the way to keep them safe the most.
And this was still canon to Arrowverse at this point, and they in a prior crossover, at the start of Crisis, actually, they referenced Doomsday, which
that's true.
Of course, did not happen in this show until much
They
later.
did.
Yeah, because
when
when they're on Argo and Clark's like changing a diaper, Lois is like, oh, the man who battled Lex Luthor, Zod, Doomsday is beaten by a diaper. It's that
I
sort of playful
forgot
dynamic.
about that.
I should also say, like, I have to mention it like every time, but like at the time, I do remember screaming at my TV when she calls John Henry Irons. I'm like, "Call Kara, you son of a bitch! Call her! call the Justice League! Like, get him!"
Yeah, call Kara, call John. It's like, and it was
Call
around
the
that same time
Justice
too.
Gang.
Like right after this, like whenever that whole Armageddon stuff was happening with Flash, here I am thinking, I was like, what the hell is Superman doing that he can't show up?
I mean, we thought for a second that like he was going to be the like season final or the season 8 final.
Oh
cameo.
God!
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, oh no, like okay, like it may not be canon, but he's gonna open a wormhole. It's gonna show up. It's a cross up. No.
That still makes me mad.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought the same thing. I said it was gonna happen.
I mean, there was no reason they couldn't if Titans did it.
True.
We'll talk about that next season. That season 2 final might be a long episode.
I mean, hell, this is already a long episode. This is over 40 minutes.
40 minutes, yeah. Do you have
And,
anything else?
I don't believe so. I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Like our 3 favorite episode discussions were bound to be some of the longer videos, because it's just even more gushing than normal. But no, like I absolutely adore this episode to bits. And it's my personal favorite of not only the season but the series.
It's a good favorite episode. Very good.
Yep.
I will say, even as we were getting near the end of the show, there were some contenders for that spot. So it's not as though they did all their best stuff early on, which is kind of what killed a number of those other shows. It's like they did all their good shit early on, and then they're scraping the bottom of the barrel as they're getting near the end.
Eric Wallace.
Yeah, there's a lot in like season 3 and season 4. I cannot wait to talk about. There's some very deep discussions to be had.
Oh yeah, I think that pretty much does it. We're talking about this on Wednesday. It's going to be Saturday whenever you guys see it. Definitely excited to get into next week's episode, as well as maybe rant a little about next week's episode.
I know
Darren's waiting for that one.
Because
he so graciously gave the intro to me because this is my favorite episode. I'm going to give it back to him for next week, and we'll see if Darren's the next person to crash out in one of these things. You guys know where I'm at. Lost Levels on Sundays. There he is.
Jake's Lost Levels on Sundays.
Funny guy. Mondays and Thursdays. Pipeline after credits. And I mean, you know where this guy's at. It's on his channel.
Catch me weekly, uploading at 5. Unless I upload a short or something, or I forget that I said I was uploading at 5. I have 4 kids. My schedule's hectic. But we have come to the end of the road for today. It's Saturday, so there are no live streams today. But make sure you tune in on Monday for After the Credits, and tune in on Tuesday for Party Nation. Also tune in Monday for Ranger Nation. Crap, I don't know if we can upload on Mondays if I want to keep with this 5 o'clock thing, but I can't upload it on Tuesday either. I'm ranting. Okay, see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Crap, my mouse is not close enough.